Come on in to Margaret McSweeney's Kitchen for Kitchen Chat, where every week you'll meet chefs, cookbook authors, foodies, gourmets, and just plain people who love to eat. And along with laughter, chat, recipes, and stories about food, you'll sometimes also hear words of inspiration, love, and hope. As Margaret always says, Kitchen Chat is food for the senses and food for the soul. So grab a cup of coffee, put your feet up on a comfy chair, and get ready to spend a little time with Margaret and her friends.
Hello, dear foodie friends, and welcome to Kitchen Chat. I'm your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I'm so glad you're joining us here today in the beautiful Middleby Residential Showroom in the A&D building in New York City, Suite 1062. I'm here with my dear friend and fabulous Chef Jamie Larita.
Yes, I'm here, Margaret, in New York City.
Yes, and we are so excited for you to get to know an amazing woman, Tanya Steele. Tanya, welcome to Kitchen Chat.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
I'm glad you're here.
Oh, my pleasure.
You have a resume that's a mile long. I mean, it is incredible. No, Epicurious editor, James Beard winner. You are the go-to resource for TV news and so many shows for health and wellness. And you have a new role, also a cookbook author, a fabulous cookbook. We'll have to talk about that. And also, you have a new role. Congratulations, the CEO of IACP, International Association of Culinary Professionals. And Jamie, as you know, IACP is really where Kitchen Chat started. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I am not a good cook, as you can attest.
I
don't believe it.
No, she started out with boiling water. She did that really well.
Yeah.
But she's evolving.
Yes, I'm evolved.
She's making tea now.
Okay.
Some infusions.
It's elevated some. But I'll never forget going to my very first IACP conference. I said, can I even join? This is like such an incredible group founded by Julia Child. And I'll never forget, they said, you're a culinary communicator. And I love sharing the stories of the wonderful things going on in the culinary side. And I would love to hear, as the new CEO of IACP, what is going to be new? And then you have a conference coming up.
That's right. This organization is 41 years old now, so I'm a tad older than that, but it's been going on for a long time, and it really was started by Julia and Anne Willan and a whole bunch of food professionals who wanted to kind of have a way to come together and network and communicate and kind of help each other, in their own careers and talk about what's going on in the world of food. So I've gone, throughout my career to the conferences and always had an amazing time and met all of these really interesting people and thought, oh my God, how cool would it be to one day run it? And lo and behold, it's what kind of happened. I put it in the universe. So so it's really fantastic. And what I'm really excited about with ICP is the ability to really kind of galvanize it and make it not 2.0 but 3.0 to really take it to the next level. And what that means is not only being a place for anyone really who is interested in food and the role that it plays in society, but also giving the professional organization a national voice, because what good is it? We want to help each other, but we also want to help the world. So how can we do that? How can we affect change? So we as a group we have a very powerful voice, all of us together. I mean, we're just kind of some of the kind of the who's who of the food world. So we should really be doing big things and making big strides. So that's really what I want to focus on. But the conference that's coming up just in 3 weeks, which is why I'm so exhausted and look exhausted and have more foundation on than I should actually have more on.
We all do.
Is that it's in Santa Fe, and what's so great about it is we are changing it so that there are 3 tracks: eat, empower, and engage. And so you can go for the eat track, you can mix it up with some engage, you can do some empower, and what they are is kind of professional skills. It's hearing about kind of the most topical issues of the day, so LGBTQ and all of these different things. And then really food and cooking and alcohol and spirit, like hands-on stuff, which I think was kind of missing. People were really interested in the food piece of it, and that had kind of evaporated because it is kind of a bear to put on, but we wanted to do it. So we're celebrating Santa Fe and the amazing, amazing ingredients and culinary heritage and the chefs and the Navajo chefs, which I'm so excited about. So excited, and we have amazing sponsors. So so there are tickets still available. So if anybody's interested, anyone can come. You don't need to be a chef. You don't need to be a food writer professionally. You can be someone who is interested in food and social media, and you can come and meet some of your greats, your giants.
Wow,
And
that's really great.
Speaking of giants, I'm so excited because I'll be at IACP, and thank you for the honor to be interviewing Natalie Dupree, the queen of Southern cuisine.
Talk about a giant. I mean, she really is instrumental in Southern cuisine and kind of codifying it for this country.
Yes, so that's very exciting.
So Tanya, I want to dial it back a little bit. And reading a lot about you and doing some research about you, you've always done things with children.
Yeah.
The foundation with the Obamas and stuff like that. Where did that come from, and what inspires you to do those
You know, it's a funny thing. I grew up very close to here, and my mother, we're all from England originally, and we moved here when I was 7. My mother, God love her, she can't even make tea or coffee. No, she actually can. Tea and coffee are her only thing.
okay. As long as she does it well.
She does. She does very well, but nothing else. So at 7, when we moved over here, I realized, wait a minute, this food is really not so great. And I turned on the television and watched Julia Child. And so watched her French chef and started to cook as a kid, and I ended up cooking for the family the whole time. Fast forward to I have twins, identical twins, because God thought, just let's give her, she has a sense of humor, let's give her 2 people that look exactly alike, so she doesn't know what she's doing. And I really didn't know. But at that time, I was at Bon Appetit magazine, and I realized I didn't even know how to cook for kids or for babies, and I didn't know how to get them into the kitchen. So I got really interested. I wrote a book called Real Food for Healthy Kids, which came out right at the very beginning of this whole thing. And then one day I'm at Epicurious in my office, and I see on my phone XXXX, and I thought, oh, that's my friends from the New York Times, because I used to write for the Times. And I picked it up and said, hi, and they said, hi, we're calling from the First Lady's office, and we have your cookbooks, and we would really love to work with you. So I said, yeah, you're joking. No, we really are. So that's how it all started. They called me right around when they started Let's Move, and they had my cookbook, and they knew about Epicurious, and so we started coming up with different things to do together. I helped them in any way I could, and then I came up with this idea of doing a national recipe competition for children. And so they said, good, but if you do it, you have to actually kind of get it all together. So I got the USDA, the Department of Agriculture, the White House, and then some sponsors.
Just some small.
Some small. While I was doing my regular job and commuting and children. But it was an amazing experience, and we had it for 5 years. One winner from every state would come to the White House for a kids' state dinner. They would all be announced, it would be Olivia, 11, from Oregon, salmon smoked, with crudité, and then Olivia and her mother would walk through, and there'd be, kids, with microphones and actual press, and then we'd have this great little thing upstairs, and then we would all go into the East Room, and I would speak, and a child would speak, and Mrs. Obama would speak, and the president would speak.
That's incredible.
And he would come and shake everyone's hand, and every child and mother had or a parent rather, had their photos taken with Mrs. Obama, and people would come out and cry, and then I would cry, because it was the most moving thing. So it was, and I'm still in touch with all of these kids, who have all gone on to do amazing things.
Isn't that incredible? You go on this culinary journey, this life journey, and then you do something, and then all of a sudden something like that appears, something unexpected.
It is.
And then it just resonates, and the ripple effect from that just keeps rippling out.
Exactly. And it's it's all about throwing a stone in the water that you are happy with, and hoping that, as you said, it ripples out and it keeps affecting people. And that's why I just came out with a book, Food Fight, Mouthwater History of Why to the Ages with Nat Geo. And it's a history of food for kids, but it's also a history of the world. And it's got a very healthy message implicit, let's get into the kitchen and cook. And here are some amazing things that the Greeks made, the Egyptians made, the Romans made, in medieval times, Shakespeare, and this is how they cooked, and this is what they used. And, all of these it was so fun. It was a 3-year project. but I
is
loved it. And
great.
a lot of my White House kids tested the recipes and gave me quotes for the book. So
That is incredible.
it was great. So it was like a
Love
nice full circle.
And I'll never forget, a real highlight in my culinary journey was in 2015 when the IACP conference was in Washington, D.C., and I was able to tour the White House garden. That was incredible, and Mrs. Obama had a lot to do with getting.
She did. She started the White House garden. Actually, Mrs. Roosevelt had it in the 40s on the rooftop, and then Mrs. Obama started it in the White House, and she had honeybees, like a hive. She had incredible. I mean, they all ate from the garden every day, and a lot of the dinners were served with garden produce. It was a very flourishing garden, and there was a compost heap. I mean, they did an amazing job. Wow. I actually don't know what the situation is, the status with the garden today, but I'm hoping that it's still been kept up.
I have so many comments on that.
And there were like heirloom from Thomas Jefferson. I was like amazed at this garden.
And all the trees on the White House grounds are planted by different presidents, so that's so beautiful. It's a really
I've never been. That would be great to see.
It's such a beautiful. I mean, it really is. I have to say, I've probably been in the White House like literally 20 times. And each time it'd be like, this is such a blessing, and I mean, I'm so lucky to be here.
Wow, you've really, I mean, speaking of the ripple effect, you've thrown a lot of stones out there.
Yeah.
There's like the waves.
Oh, I hope so. That's what I'm trying.
You're succeeding.
That's what I want to do with IACP. I want us to all create waves.
Yeah.
And IACP, I mean, I just love the platform and the openness. And really, anyone interested in the culinary side, I encourage you, foodie friends, check out IACP, the conference, and the wonderful resources you have with the webinars and just so many ways to connect.
The networking itself, just meeting people face to face is a huge thing.
And Jamie, remember, we went into Anne Willan's. I met Anne Willan at IACP in Chicago, in the Chicago conference, and she invited Jamie and me into her beautiful kitchen when she was in Santa Monica.
Oh, wow.
And that was such a wonderful thing.
It was really a kitchen chat moment that I will never forget. Being in her kitchen and her sharing all the stories with Julia, and remember when she gave me that musical teacup? I traveled with a lot of musicians. And it was a teacup with all these music notes around. It's almost as if she knew who I was.
Oh my God, so cool.
No, she was very, very, very cool.
And the red wine vinegar that we went home with. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, she gave me the mother, and then I passed it on to the chef in Les Bouchons in Chicago.
Oh, that's so cool.
But that's just a sampling of what IACP can do in connecting us all, because it really is a small world, and it's international. It extends internationally with IACP.
It's so true. And you could say, well, what do we need that for when we have social media? But the reality is that social media is virtual. And there's nothing that replaces meeting people in person.
No, that's so true. And I remember when I went to my first IACP with you, Margaret.
Yes.
And we met
Meredith.
And we met so many people that night. But you're right. There's nothing like connecting on a human level. And everybody seems so friendly and open to ideas and exchanging tips and projects of the trade. It was a wonderful experience.
And it all began with Julia. Now, had you ever met Julia Child?
I've met her multiple times, which is such a beautiful, again, full circle, considering that she kind of put me both professionally and personally on such a path. And I've met her multiple times, and now I run the Julia Child Award. So that's one thing I do.
That's right.
So we give an award. The foundation gives an award.
What, do you sleep?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I never sleep. No, but we give an award to one person every year who's made, or sometimes it can be two. Like last year we did it to Mary Sue and Susan Penniger.
Right.
But someone who really is instrumental and profound influence in the way that we cook and eat in America.
Wow.
So Jacques won, Rick Bayless has won, Danny Meyer has won.
And how long has that been going on?
This will be the fifth year. And we're actually going to announce the winner in June.
Wow.
Wonderful. And that is so much. I love going to that event. I was there for the very first one.
The Smithsonian.
Yes.
Oh, that's so great.
And I think it had Jacques designed
the
menus. It was just beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's an amazing event in D.C. at the Smithsonian at the National Museum of American History. And it's very, very kind of intimate, and it's 300 people, and it's very emotional. I mean, I always get weepy when I hear, because it's about this person's career arc and personal arc, and it's always a beautiful thing. And there's such a nice connection with Julia, and we try to pick people that really embody every criteria that she
What
has.
what an amazing person. I mean, to have had, again, we're going back to the ripple effect, but everyone we seem to interview that's known her has given us such an astounding burst of memory and energy from her.
Well, what's so fun is when I have calls with the foundation all the time, one of us will always imitate her at some point. So it's very hard, it's like someone's voice goes up, and we're thinking,
The
Yes, she was here, and she had a great story. Do you have any special memories of Julia Child that we can share?
I have to say, one of my memories, I don't know, she probably would like this, is that when I was at either Food and Wine or Bon Appetit, she won an award, and I was at the dinner, and it was 10:30 at night. I was exhausted. I really was just like, I need to go home. I'm full. I drank too much.
You work too much.
Right. And then she gets up as fresh as a daisy, late 80s, had a full dinner. She had her drinks that she loved. I mean, God love her. She ate and drank well until the very end. And so she was just 1,000 times more energy than I ever had. I remember thinking, I was probably 20. I was like, oh my God, how does she do it?
An energy role model.
Exactly.
Wow, and as you said, it's full circle, and this is such a special celebration. Thank you so much for being on Kitchen Chat with us.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Thank you, and thank you, Jamie, as always.
I'm always here.
And thank you, dear foodie friends, for joining the fun. I'll make sure that I have links to IACP so you too can find a wonderful foodie friend network with IACP as well. And also, please visit the showrooms. Middleby Residential now has 2 beautiful showrooms, one in New York City in the A&D building on the 10th floor, and then one in the Merchandise Mart where you can find Chef Jamie Larita, Suite 137. Yes. And also visit thevikinglife.com for more inspiration. Come visit me in my kitchen, kitchenchat.info. And always remember to take a moment and savor the day.
Thanks for joining Margaret for Kitchen Chat today. Margaret would be so excited for you to drop by and visit with her at kitchenchat.info, where you'll enjoy podcasts, blogs, recipes, tips from chefs, and even great giveaways. She invites you to share your recipes and kitchen stories too. As Margaret always says, savor the day.